Okay, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mangg. Welcome back to Hanging with Mangg, episode 174. And it keeps getting funnier every time I do it. So we're playing some Final Fantasy VII, as that's where I'm at in my Final Fantasy playthroughs, even though I just started uploading Final Fantasy V this week. I actually would be much farther, but I took a couple month break from playing Final Fantasies because I played through the first 6 games in like 2 weeks. So I took a break, but now I'm back and I'm enjoying it, so it's all good. Yeah. So I've actually started thinking about moving out into my own place. It's probably doubtful that it'll happen this year, 2018, but very well could happen next year. I certainly could, you know, this is all based on YouTube money, which is exciting to think about, I suppose. I certainly could move out into like some apartment or something if I really just needed to be on my own desperately. But I don't want to move into an apartment. That just doesn't really appeal to me. I want to get a condo or something like that. So yeah, I'm gonna hold off, but you know, the thinking process has started, so it's pretty cool. Yeah, I just like peace and quiet is really what it is. And so that's what it comes down to, pretty much. Just me and my 8 cats. Anyways, yeah, Monster Hunter World comes out in T-minus 5 days or something like that, and that's exciting. The final beta is just ending today, I believe. And you know, plenty of people are struggling with Nergigante, which is good. That is good that people are struggling. If it was just people are wiping the floor with him all over the place, which some people are, but you know, if everyone was like, "Oh, Nerg wasn't too bad, it wasn't too hard," that would not be a good sign. But people are struggling, so that's good. They can kill him eventually, because that's how it works. Yeah, can't wait. It's gonna be on Friday. I have to finish up work on the final Elder Scrolls video, but then as soon as I finish that, which, you know, I may get so excited that I might just do it Thursday night, just so I can have Friday clear. We'll see. But Friday, I'm gonna do a live stream for Monster Hunter World, so that'll probably go for a couple hours, give or take. And then after that, I'm just gonna be recording the Mangg Hunter series. I'm gonna be recording who knows how many videos. And so then I'll have just this massive, beautiful backlog of Final Fantasy and Monster Hunter. So yeah, that's pretty much what happened this week. Was a backlog of Final Fantasy and Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight is just about done. I think there's a couple more videos, so that'll fill out this week, along with Final Fantasy V now. And yeah, I'm excited. That's about all there is to say about it. On the Exploring series, we had the Vivek video, which was decently well received. I had to deal with all the sort of, hey, you forgot about the fact that he bit off Molag Bal's penis and made it into a spear, and then he shoved his spear dick down Azura's throat, and it's his dick. It's all just dicks and dicks. Okay, thanks. How could I have forgotten that? I can't believe I missed that. It's crazy. That's always my favorite comment, is you forgot. You forgot this. You forgot that. Like, I'm well aware of everything. That's humble brag. Like, I do thorough research. It's rare that I completely, like, miss something. Or it's like, wow, I didn't hear about that at all. And then I look and it's like, holy shit, how did I miss this? That almost never happens. Like, I read everything, and then I decide to leave stuff out. But instead of saying, oh, you didn't mention this, they say, you forgot. I just don't care for that term, but that's just me. Anyways, we also had the Sheogorath video with Jigalag, which also was received just fine. That comment section is almost even worse. Just so much LOL random nonsense. It's really why Sheogorath is like my least favorite Daedric Prince. But some people like him, so whatever. And then really the main problem with the comments on that video is people arguing with me about the whole mantling of Sheogorath. Most people think that the player character in Oblivion was the first one that ever mantled Sheogorath to become the new Mad God. Which, you know, he certainly does do that, but I think there's multiple bits of evidence that it happens all the time. There's a out-of-game interview with Haskell where he says that he is a mortal who mantled Sheogorath and is now a vestige or something that serves him. So he had at one point mantled him. And I brought that up and somebody was like, oh no, that he means that he failed to mantle Sheogorath. And it's like, no, he would have said I failed to mantle Sheogorath. He said I mantled him. It's completely opposite. And then Sheogorath himself says that Mad God is a title that a family title that he hands down from me to myself every few thousand years. Which, you know, you can't, I guess, believe anything he says too much, but I don't know. I think people just pick their theories and they're like, I don't care what you say, I believe this, and that's the end of it, which goes for a lot of things in life. But I mean, the Haskell thing is out of game, so I guess you can ignore that if you really want. But I don't know. I really don't spend too much time arguing with people. Then we had the Vermina video to cap off the Daedric Princes, which I was really just not happy with that video. Like, some videos I finish, you know, I upload and I'm like, I should just disable comments on this. I don't want to hear about anything about this. I don't even want this video to exist. But it's done. I'm not gonna redo it. I don't know what I would do differently, so just fuck it. But people seem to be okay with it, so what else can I hope for? Sometimes I just do not have much pride in what I do. Other times, though, like with the Akavir video that I worked on this week, I feel very good about. The Akavir video, I think, is probably the best video I did for the entire Elder Scrolls series. Because it's so non-Elder Scrolls. It doesn't deal with any sort of weird gods or you know, it just doesn't have anything to do with everything else going on in Tamriel and all that stuff. It's really like pretty much its own setting. It could just be its own thing. And you know, there's really almost no official artwork or references for anything of how Akavir and the people there look. There's really almost nothing. Like, it's like Kamal just means snow hell, and it's snowy. And there's snow demons living there. It doesn't say anything about what these snow demons look like, or anything like that. And so that, for me, is great. Because no one can say, no, this doesn't look like this. This doesn't look like this. Like, they don't know, and I don't know. So that means I can use whatever kick-ass artwork that I want. As long as, you know, it's vaguely similar to the description. And so that video is filled with some kick-ass artwork. And I was really happy with it. I think it's a great video, and I very rarely think that. So I don't know how popular it will be as far as view counts. I don't know how many people are interested in Akavir. Because it's not really often mentioned. But if they ever announce an Elder Scrolls game set in Akavir, that video is going to be printing money. Except at that point, like, everything in that video will be, like, wrong. So I'll probably have to redo it anyways. But, yeah. Yeah, so that's it. Then, this week I'm going to be working on the last video, which is for Lesser Daedra. It's really not a great video to go out on. Like, the Middle-earth series ended with Tom Bombadil, which was... Actually, it didn't end with Tom Bombadil, because I later did The Fall of Gondolin and Nazgul. So, I guess it's better to think the series never technically ends. Like, it's always open for me to go back to. So it's not ending with a video on the Lesser Daedra, it's just the last one I'm doing for now. But I'll talk about, you know, Dramora and Atronax and Spider Daedra and, I don't know, Clan Fears, Ogrims, whatever, all sorts of stuff. Some of them, you know, it's just a couple lines, so it might just be a video filled with, like, 20 different creatures. We'll see. I'll decide what I cut out. And then I'll get all the comments saying, hey, you forgot this. Didn't you know about this? How do you not know this exists, dude? How could you forget this? Like, oh, okay, thanks. Yeah, and so then that video I'll be done with by Friday. And then Tuesday, the 30th, I'm going to be putting out the polls to decide the next series. So what that means is that starting Friday, I have like 10 days or something like that. Where really I'm not doing anything. I'm calling it a vacation so I can play Monster Hunter every single day with nothing to do. And you know what? Screw it. I deserve it. 3 videos a week for like 3 months or whatever the hell that was. Screw it. It's gonna be great. But then we roll into the next series and it should be good. I'm hoping. I don't think anything that I really, like, detest is gonna win. Because I'm fairly well-rounded. I like a lot of nerdy shit, so... I don't know what they could really pick that I would be like, oh god, I have to do this for 5 months? Maybe Doctor Who. Doctor Who ever won, I think I'd be a little meh. And it's not that I dislike it, I just feel like I'd have to start watching it all. And that's just a big commitment. That's why I've never watched anything of it. Alright then. So moving on to board games, let's see. We had a couple board game nights this week. One involved playing Ethnos. Again, this is our second game of Ethnos. I don't know, it's just those types of board games where it's like... You know, somewhat simple mechanics, not really anything that in-depth. Usually just involving pure cards. And... yeah, Ethnos has a little bit of area control going on when you play the cards. But it's not that complicated of a game, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's a well-designed game, it's perfectly put together for what it is. It just bores me. There's really nothing special about it, there's really nothing that social about it, it's just... okay, let's just sit here and we'll show cards to each other, and they'll do stuff. And then somebody will win. I don't know, it's just... I've become far more picky, I think, with board games. It just doesn't excite me, I don't know. And it's a shame, because the guys I play with, I feel, would be really big fans of a lot of Euro games. You know, Puerto Rico, Agricola... they're big fans of Power Grid, just all these sort of thinky, mathy, Euro-ish games, and that just is, ugh. It's just really boring. And I own a lot of these games, and I've introduced them to a bunch of these types of games, and so they like to play them. And just, ugh. You know, like, they want to play, they like Age of Empires, the board game. You know, Ziggy owns like the big Kickstarter edition, and you know, it's very big and expensive, and it's just sort of this big Euro game, really. I mean, there's some American elements to it. Again, there's sort of some area control and some combat, I guess, but it's very European overall, and it just honestly bores me to tears. So I don't know. I don't know what to do about that. And then after Ethnos, we played a game called Glux, which was a very sort of puzzle mathy, not math, but definitely it was like an abstract puzzle type game where you're pulling these numbered tokens out of a bag, and then you're distributing these tokens in with specific rules around this board, and it's, again, sort of area control, but with numbered tokens, and you can only place them in specific spots, and I won, but I didn't, I was just like, compared to Battlestar Galactica, come on, come on. Then yesterday we had a game day and we were gonna play Cosmic Encounter. I was very excited, but then we lost a member. So we ended up playing Chinatown, which is fine. Chinatown's better than plenty of other games. We had plenty of crazy, wild trades. And 3 of us got more than $1 million at the end, which was pretty great. It was a very close game. I thought I was gonna win. I actually got 3rd place, which was wild. But that was a good time. And then we played some coconuts. Always a good time with the coconuts. Flicking nuts around into cups. And that was it. And aside from that, I played plenty of Gloomhaven this week. It's actually kind of a bummer that I got rid of my kick-ass archer character. You know, he was so boss. Like, he was amazing. I always felt so powerful whenever I was playing with that archer dude. But, you know, I'm very excited about retiring characters because you know, completing personal quests, you get to open new boxes. You get to open new characters, and, you know, that's very exciting. And I was especially excited for that one because I got to open a new envelope. And I was like, oh, an envelope. Anything could be in there. Even another envelope. Big mistake. Big mistake. I won't spoil it, but it was a big mistake. I should have kept on to that archer dude just as long as possible. I should have done everything in my power to do, you know, to stay away from retirement. Big mistake. Because now I went to the Brute, and the Brute just didn't seem viable with our group. So then I went to the Spellweaver, and the Spellweaver's interesting, but does not seem that powerful, especially compared to the Archer. And so now I'm working on using the Spellweaver to get another box open. And my personal quest is to kill 20 elite monsters, which is really just a big pain in the ass because you have to keep track of every monster you kill. Every elite monster, and I failed to keep track even after the first scenario. So at some point I'm just gonna be like, all right, I did it, and I'm gonna open it up. I'm gonna open a box. Yeah, thanks for stopping by, Jin. You know, maybe you should be focusing on killing Nergigante with an insect glaive instead of chatting in my chat. And my mom is working with this one character, the sort of sun class, and she's not crazy about it. And what's worse is her personal quest is to kill like 15 vermlings, which are a specific type of unit. It's a specific type of enemy. And vermlings are fairly present when you first start playing Gloomhaven, but as time goes on, you know, these little like rat units, you're just not fighting that anymore. And so I looked through all the scenarios and I was like, you know, how easy is it going to be for her to ever reach this goal? It's not. Like, we'd have to get lucky and pull certain, like, event cards that unlock certain scenarios, and then within those scenarios, she would have to personally kill every vermling in the scenario. I mean, this would take months. Like, this would take, like, 2 months or something of us playing before she might be able to do that. And even then, who knows? You can do random scenarios. You can just set up, like, with random sort of setups and random units. They have a way for you to do this, which is pretty cool, to be honest. But even then, you have like a 1 in 20 chance of getting the unit card with the enemies that has all the vermlings. And even then, you'd have to do that like 3 times. And so I was just like, this is retarded. You know, I paid for the game. I want to enjoy the game. I want us both to enjoy it, so who cares? So I just told her, you know, if she's not happy, just retire the character whenever you want, and let's move on. Because, you know, we've played a whole bunch of scenarios, and we have not opened many boxes. When you're playing with 4 people, you can open a lot more, twice as many boxes as we are. And so, you know, we're going to finish the campaign, we're going to finish with Gloomhaven, and we're just going to have boxes sitting there we never get to open and never play with. And that's lame. So, I just told her to retire. So, that's what she'll probably do next time. Just move things along. Keep it exciting. Alright, so roll Manging. Shadow of the Demon Lord, session number 3, I believe. So, we were still in Flint Hook. Yeah, we were still in Flint Hook. And we had just sort of, you know, killed the Necromancer, saved the town. We had gotten our reward, we were thanked by everybody, all that sort of stuff. And so, you know, Orion is really becoming interested in this plague that is seemingly popping up in all sorts of places. Unrelated individuals are catching this same disease and things like that. And, you know, he's interested in where this is coming from, because his mom was killed by disease, so he's sensitive to it. And he wants to stop this before it gets out of hand. And so we were discussing about where to go next. You know, where do we go now? What is our goal? And so I'm like, okay, well, the goal is to find the source of this disease, this plague. Find more about it. And so we could go to the north, because there's one more town to the north of us, and that's the last town in, like, the main Empire region before you go into across the mountains and you head into the northern reach, which is really sort of the boondocks, just this large. It's Canada. It's Canada. The wilderness. And so it's like, okay, well, if this plague is sort of originating from the north, the people in that northern town would have maybe a better idea of something. Maybe they've heard more about it. Or we could go on the rivers and head to the big city in this region, Edine City or something like that. Go there, and that's going to be like a big nexus of information and trade, and so they're going to have heard something about where this started. You know, we're able to do some information gathering there. And so, you know, we discussed it, and we decided, let's go to the city. So we start packing up. You know, I got my 2 girls, the witches, the witch duo that I'm training, and we're setting up. We're taking the witch hunter's boat because it was promised to us if we looked into the disappearances that we would get that boat. So we're starting to, you know, get ready to go, when suddenly a giant, not giant, but a large merchant ship, this, you know, sort of trading ship, comes slowly drifting down the river near Flint Hook. And no one sees anyone, like, on deck or anything like that, and it looks like it's about to drift into the docks of Flint Hook. And so the guards are shouting, blah, 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 you know, all sorts of stuff, but nothing, no response, and the ship crashes into the docks. And the hull of the ship bulges outward and then sort of explodes. And out of the ship come this just wild, ravening mass of infected human beings. That's nice. So, and so we try to, you know, yell at them to stop and blah, blah, blah. They'll be shot or whatever. But they do not. They are mindless, apparently. So this is sort of like becoming a rage virus, clearly. And so, yeah, you know, obviously I want to try to save the town. You know, it would be easy to just be like, all right, fuck this, and run off and be done with it. But Orion wanted to save the town. And so, my goal was to have Dirk McGurk and Auk, the new guy, the dwarf dude, have them sort of corral the infected back into the ship. And then I would set the ship on fire, which I had already started to do. And then they would all just sort of burn with the ship and just wipe out this whole disease before it infected the town. Unfortunately, that didn't really happen because Hawk proved 100% useless. Like, beyond worthless. Instead of, like, getting in there with his staff and, like, really just sort of pushing them and being, like, you know, a body, he decided his best use of his time and efforts was to imbue some acorns with magical energy so that he could throw them at the group for 1d3 damage each. 1d3 damage. Keep in mind, his staff does 1d6 plus 1. And he has another spell that lets him buff his staff to do an additional, like, 1d6 damage. Meaning he can be really dangerous, but instead of doing that, he threw magical acorns. And not only that, he missed practically every single one of them. So from our perspective, he was just like skipping stones across the river while Dirk McGurk was trying to fend off this entire horde of infected himself. It was almost offensive. And so, you know, if Dirk McGurk had me healing him, he probably could have stood a better chance. If there had been guards there to sort of help out, he could have stood a better chance. If Auk had done anything, he could have stood a better chance. But I was really busy trying to burn down the ship. I had to, like, hold the torch there on the side of it. And I was doing some other thing. I was trying to teleport torches inside the ship and stuff. And I was working on it, but it just wasn't enough. And so Dirk McGurk was getting the shit beaten out of him. He's really taking some pain. And he decided he's not going to die for this, so he fled. And so at that point, you know, with Auk doing nothing, no guards, I could not hold back this horde myself. I'm not equipped for that at this point. So we fled. We jumped on the witch hunter's boat and we just sailed off. And we had to watch as this sort of horde of infected just overran the town, and we heard screams, and it was just horrible. It was very like 30 Days of Night. So, yeah, that was nice. Big failure. Big failure. I tried my best, but you need other people sometimes, and they don't always cooperate. And, I mean, we were yelling at Auk the entire time. We were yelling at Phil the entire time to do something different, anything different. He didn't. And so it's at that point, I'm starting to think, like, this guy... I told him later, like, if you weren't a player character, we would kill you. Or we would leave you behind. Like, there was... Like, at best, you're an incompetent moron. The character, I mean, not him. I guess. at worst, he's like actively working against us as like some sort of spy or, you know, inside agent or something like that. Like, no one would do this on accident. Ridiculous. And so we sailed on. We met another sort of trading ship, you know, sort of just poor people. And they told us that Adine City is under quarantine, and they weren't really allowing many people in because of this plague. So things are really spreading. And they said they were on to they're on their way to Flint Hook, and I'm like, yeah, you don't want to go that way. And they were running out of food, and we had extra food, so I just gave it to them. I didn't even charge them, because I'm just a good guy. And they warned us that there were some witch hunters also heading this way. And they told us about this little sort of hideaway little pond thing we could duck into and hide. And so that's what we did. We went into this little side area, and we hid, and we waited, and I went up to see if the coast was clear, if the witch hunters had passed by, which they had, but unfortunately there was a cockatrice above us. You know, sort of a big half rooster, half lizard, or something like that, that can petrify you. Nasty monster. And so I immediately called for support. They came up, and we basically just put Auk up front to make up for what he did before. And he pretty much just absorbed 2 hits. He went unconscious, and Dirk McGurk and I killed the bird thing. And so he's sort of bleeding out. And in Shadow of the Demon Lord, you basically get like 1d6 as a roll. If you get a 1, you like are halfway dead. You have to, you know, you like worsen. If you get 2 through 5, nothing changes, and if you get a 6, you stabilize. And so I'm like, all right, well, let's see if he is truly, you know, devoted to his god. You know, if his god favors him. Because if he is truly favored by Old Man Winter, then he will be saved without our intervention. It's really against Orion's, like, personality and code and all that stuff, but I was like, fuck it. I just want to let this play out, because I really don't trust this guy. Sure enough, he did stabilize. He stabilized himself without any of our intervention. So it worked out. It worked out. And he is none the wiser that we didn't help him. He just sort of woke up later in a bed. So, alright, good. So we continue on our way toward Adine City, and, you know, I'm thinking about this quarantine, and they're not just going to let anybody in, especially, you know, a ragtag group such as us with an orc and, like, some wilderness woman, and it's just, it's going to be iffy. So I went with the plan of masquerading as witch hunters, because I took the witch hunter medallion off of the dead witch hunter that we killed. So we tied up Dirk McGurk and the 2 women, and I did pretty much all the talking, and I said, you know, we're 2 witch hunters, me and this Auk guy, and we're delivering some witches for sentencing. And they saw my medallion, and they checked over the ship. They didn't find any sort of contraband or anything like that. And that was it. There's really no, like, ID badge or anything like photo ID. It's really just, alright, you have that medallion, okay. Because it's crazy to think that anybody would kill a witch hunter and steal that. It's like, you know, maybe you killed a Jedi and took his lightsaber or something like that. Like, no, it's ridiculous. And So, yeah, we clear the customs and all that, and they let us into the city, they raise the gate, and as we're sailing towards the city, Cock decides that this is when he's going to exhibit his behavior of a disdain for authority. And so he flips off the customs agent and rolls to sort of conceal it. You know, he doesn't want to be seen, he just wants to do it because it makes him feel better. Of course he fails, because that's all he does. He cannot do anything but fail. So they see it and they like scribble something down. I'm like, I don't even... Like, if they had made, like, any sort of uproar about it, like, hey, well, stop right there, you flipped us off, blah, 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 I would have just blasted his ass into the river. Like, I would have used wind blast or whatever, and I would have just been, you know, like, he is done. He is out of the order. He's no longer a witch hunter. Just done. Jesus Christ. So, we arrive in port, we go to this little dock, we pay the guy, and that's where we ended off. So now we're in the big city, we're gonna get some lodging, we're gonna figure out what's going on with this whole plague, we're gonna firebomb the witch hunter headquarters, because I hate them, and yeah, it should be good. You know, I'm starting to learn some more spells. Next session, at the end of the next session, we're hitting level 3, so it's exciting stuff. Enjoying it quite a bit, so good stuff. Alright, I guess that's about it. Not much else to say. Yeah, okay. So check out the Akavir video tomorrow. I mean it. It's a good one. It's a good one this time. Check it out. It's got some awesome artwork in there. Probably later this week at some point before Friday. I'll probably maybe Thursday or something. I'll post the Q&A. For Elder Scrolls, probably about an hour long. More Hollow Knight. We're gonna finish that up this week. More Final Fantasy, and then next weekend expect plenty of Monster Hunter World. Alrighty then. So my name is Mangg. This has been Hanging with Mangg, and I'll see you fine folks next week.